So in the moment, something negative. So that could be 5 minutes ago, or
as we were parking.
Exactly, it could be anything. But you know, I won't be asking you to share, but I will be. You'll have a chance to filter it through, you know, and see, and then have the chance to ask me questions about that too, if you want.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody to our 7-minute talk, and we're delighted today to have Carol Ruiz, who will be sharing with us the magic of NVC, which is nonviolent communication, and she's going to make the case for human value and human freedom. Carol, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am so excited to be here with you. This is my mission in life now, is to teach about nonviolent communication. And I normally teach it through workshops that last 8 weeks. So my eyes kind of went wide when I thought, oh, 7 minutes. Huh. And for a long time, I couldn't really talk about it without teaching it. But that is a losing proposition when you only have 7 minutes. So. But now, as I've been teaching it, I've really come to what the core, the essence of why a person would practice nonviolent communication. And this is really it. It's the case for human value and freedom. So whether I'm teaching to adults or whether I'm teaching to kids, I start out and I show a picture like this, and everybody goes, oh. They're so excited to see these babies. And we talk about, you know, what can these babies do? And well, we all know they really can't do very much, right? But then we ask, like, are these valuable? Are these babies valuable? How many of you think these babies are valuable? Exactly. Everybody does, even the middle schoolers do, you know? Although some of them who have younger siblings are like, wow, I don't know. But yeah, they realize how valuable these babies are, even though they can't do much. But then if I show parents this and I ask, are these guys just as valuable? You guys are all gonna say yes, right? Guess what? The middle schoolers say no. All of them say no, these guys are not as valuable as those babies. And that just bowled me over when I saw that, because I thought, wow, already, we talk about what they can do. They can do so much more than when they were babies, but they think they have less value. And sometimes I present to a group of adults and I ask them how they feel about these people. And they also feel like they have less value than the babies. But that is definitely not what God would want us to think. You know, that is not the case at all. We are human and we are valuable. And then, funnily enough, I go then to this age group and I ask people about them and how valuable they are. And almost everybody goes back to thinking that these guys have a lot of value. It's kind of interesting because they don't do a lot again, you know? Like, so somehow we get confused in our mind about whether our value is really in our intrinsic being or whether it's in what we can do. Okay? So when you learn about nonviolent communication, what you're really learning to do is to cherish yourself and your humanity in a way that the world doesn't measure you. But by looking at yourself with love and care and compassion, and then coming to understand how to use your free will in situations, because that free will is one of the big important things that God gave us as human beings. And all the time we throw it away. But when you learn to practice nonviolent communication, you're learning how to use your free will and allow other people to do the same. So, you know, when we try to run a family life, run a classroom, we think freedom, we're going to give them freedom? That's going to get out of control. But it doesn't have to. I mean, yes, there will be times that we want order in a classroom or at home. And embracing nonviolent communication doesn't mean you never put your foot down and say, okay, it's time to get in the car right now. It doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is that what you're really after when you ask someone to get into the car is their cooperation and their collaboration with you. So it's a slight shift. We all the time fall into the pit of thinking this has to happen right now in this particular way. And a lot of times that ends up in a battle that you can't win with someone else. But when you think about diving into what it is to really be human, then you find a plane that you have everything in common with everybody else, and that is looking at your underlying human needs. In a second, I'll be showing you a list of those. But when we focus in on freedom, you know, love really is freedom. And I have this: for freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery. And when a person is living in freedom, just imagine, with all the energy of life, if you felt like you could do what you wanted, maybe for a day or two, that would be getting a massage or laying in bed because we're all exhausted. But after that, it wouldn't be. After that, if we felt like we could make a difference, we'd be out there we'd be discovering the things inside us that we really want to share in the world, and we'd be doing it because we'd have that confidence to be able to bring it forward. And that's what we all want for our kids, because when they come to school, the real purpose of school is to help them discover what is inside of themselves and how to use it in the world. We think that it's to pass this math and to learn how to write an essay, but those are really just tools so that they can see what is inside of them. So living in freedom is where the genius of being human happens. And it turns out that as parents, we need to be able to do that for ourselves before we can help our children to do it. So that's where nonviolent communication is going. And so you think, okay, great, I'm going to give freedom, I want freedom, and then we go home and this is what we see. And we think, well, how many of you feel free when you look at any of those circumstances? Do you feel free? I don't, because I feel compelled. I'm like, wait, they're going to hurt each other, right? Or I look over here and I think this person is so upset. How can I help? What can I do? And over here I'm thinking he's never going to college. And over here I'm thinking, why is everyone watching television and I'm having to clean up the dishes? Right? So because we have those thoughts, they make us feel compelled. We're compelled to do something. So right there, we've given up our freedom. So we think, well, okay, what else can we do? Where is the freedom? The freedom is inside of us. So I'll give an example of this. So let's say that's my sink after dinner, and the rest of my family is watching television. Or maybe the child just made cupcakes, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me how you guys are feeling about this situation if you're me and you're standing in front of that. What kind of feelings are you having?
Frustration. Out of control.
Okay, frustration. Why are you frustrated?
Because everyone else in the household is not willing to contribute. Even though it's a household, they're doing their own thing and expecting it to be done by me or you. So it's frustrating. When you're like, what? Come on, we're all a team. Mm-hmm. But then they're like, oh, let's do our own thing. Yeah, mom will take care of it. Or right. Dad will take care of it. Like whoever's the one person who's designated, that's frustrating. She's like,
exactly. It is frustrating. With that because phrase, she gave me a clue as to what her real underlying human need is. She wants shared vision about how work gets done in a family. Shared vision. That's what it is. That's what she really wants. So more than wanting someone else to come clean this up, she wants shared vision with her family. Did anybody feel differently? Yeah.
Well, so my mom, when we were young and there were things like that, she always told us to make a sacrifice, right? To offer it, right? And I didn't understand when I was young and I got mad. now that I'm a mom and I see that, I thank my mom, because instead of being frustrated, like, okay, you know, it's like, I can do this, and well, we're Catholics, right?
Yes.
So you offer it.
Yes.
Obviously, sometimes you feel, but you can like shift it.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And maybe there are some children who are ready to do that. But if they're not ready to do that, and you tell them to offer it, how will they feel?
Frustrated.
They'll feel frustrated. Mom doesn't understand me. But I just don't want to do it. I don't. And even as an adult, I came to the faith as an adult. I didn't know how to. I tried. I was like, okay, I'm not liking this. I'm going to offer it up. But then I didn't feel different. Now I do. But that was because my faith grew. And then it became meaningful to offer it up. But before that, it was just a way of telling me I had to swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel injustice.
You feel injustice. Okay, that is not a feeling. Let's see. You feel outraged because because you think it is an injustice.
Yeah, there's an injustice. Like why I need to do it and no
Like
one else
unfair.
does it. Like unfair. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you feel outraged because you're wanting contribution.
Exactly.
You're wanting.
Like everyone
Awareness?
did this, not just me, so everyone wants.
Yeah. You're wanting
Why I'm
contribution.
the only one here to clean it.
I'm hearing contribution. I'm hearing awareness, and I'm also hearing appreciation. You want some appreciation, if not for you, for the work that has to be done. Right? So appreciation can be for.
Accountability, right?
Yes, and so that's the other cool thing. Here, let me just quickly show you this. This is a list of all the underlying human needs that, well, actually, it's always a partial list, but this is a list of underlying human needs that hits most things. And I don't know about you guys, but when I read this, that's what I feel. It's like drinking water in the heat of the day, because I want this for myself, for my family members, and for everyone. And there's this little magic piece that comes here. When we become parents, we have a new parental agency set of needs that come on, and that is our need for all of this to happen for our children. Because remember when they're babies, they come out, they can do nothing. So, going back to that dishes situation, when you realize that what you're after is not someone coming over and doing those dishes, but is instead shared vision, appreciation, contribution, cooperation. I don't remember what all the other ones we said were, but when we realize that those are what we want, then we can achieve that in many other ways than having that particular person come over and do those dishes at that time. So it allows you to step away from this and get into a space where you can learn to bring the person alongside of you and help them. And so that is the direction, that is why I teach nonviolent communication, because learning to do that is first of all capturing your own freedom, because when you realize those underlying human needs, you feel less compelled now about the dish situation, right? You've experienced freedom, and now you can gain skills to, sure, talk about all these incidents that come up that are really just opportunities for building relationship with your family. They seem negative because they usually lead to this, but they're not. They're actually great opportunities, and you can learn to come alongside your family members in this way, so that through those situations, you are building relationship with them and demonstrating to them in a way that you could never do with just words of how to be human in the world. Because we need our kids to grow up and be able to do things that we don't know how to do. So what we need to do is really empower them in their own humanity so that they can. And let's see, I think that might be it. I probably went over the 7 minutes. I don't know.
See, 1451.
Oh, no, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
But yeah, so our nonviolent communication ideas are that we're all human. We all share those same underlying human needs, so that we can, when we come down to this plane and we realize those underlying human needs, then we're no longer fighting with people, because we all have those human needs, and human needs are not actually in conflict with each other. So you go out of this space where there's all the conflict to this space where there actually is no conflict. And that's it. So I have a 6-week, my lab, I name it SpeakLife, because nonviolent communication is a word that attracts some people and alienates some people. So I'm speaking life. Yes, that's what I'm doing, speaking life. So I have a 6-week SpeakLife workshop that's coming up. The first session is on May 8th. I run it over Zoom in the evening, and the first session is absolutely free. Anyone can sign up. I have sign-up sheets here and at the back. You can put your name and email, and I'll be happy to email you the link if you have questions. And then I don't know if you want to tell them about the podcast at this point, or
Right, yeah, so 2 days ago I got together with Carol and we recorded, it was over an hour, I think, Carol? Hour and 15 minutes or so?
yeah.
So we did a kind of a deep dive, but even then we were just scratching the surface. I mean, Carol has been doing this for
Like 21 iterations of teaching 8-week workshops, and so yeah, since 2020.
The way I understood is that you trained as an engineer, then you became a mom, and you were like, I feel overwhelmed. And then you used all your engineering training to come into that, and then you discovered this teaching, and you've really made it your own, and now you've developed your own workshop, which you do virtually, but you also apply it at a local school in Cupertino,
Yes.
which is, I find fascinating, and it's in a secular environment.
Yes, actually, most of my classes now are taught in the secular environment, but you know, even if you're not naming him, Jesus is there, because what nonviolent communication cultivates is a gaze of love and mercy on the human person, which is exactly what Jesus would stand for.